What's good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. It's been a couple days, baby, but we are back for another one. Basically, I know last week I had said I was gonna do the pros and cons of trade, keeping Tua Tagovailoa, episode, and then the pros and cons of. It was originally going to be trading for Deshaun Watson, then that news broke, so moved off of that, and then part 3 is going to be the conclusion. So I'm going to condense that into one segment on today. That'll be the main segment at the end of the show. But before we get to that, there's a whole bunch of head coaching stuff I want to catch up on. It's really imperative that they get it moving this week, because after this week, you can't interview coaches until their team is out of the playoffs. So, for example, I don't know, let's say they want to interview Eric Bieniemy. They will not be able to interview Eric Bieniemy until after the Chiefs are knocked out if they do not interview him this week. So a whole bunch of stuff to talk about regarding that. There's some serious steam picking up behind Calvin Ridley. We're going to talk about that. And I don't just mean towards the Dolphins. I mean, we talked about it a couple weeks ago when news broke that, they could potentially be separating. And now it looks like the Falcons and Calvin Ridley are headed for divorce. And I'm sorry, we're going to talk about that, but wait till you hear what they're asking for. When you see what they're asking for, it's going to be ridiculous. Then there's an interesting article we're going to talk about from The Athletic that came out, and there's a portion of it that discusses Deshaun Watson and Stephen Ross. We're going to look at that. I want to update everyone on the head coaching search as it stands right now. And then if, time permitting, I might open it up for a bit because it's been a while. It feels like it's been forever. So give you all a platform to talk. I also want to hear what the pros and cons, what you guys think about the pros and cons. So, I'll probably open it up for a little bit after that. And guys, working on something. We're going to be bringing back, hopefully, an old school rendition. A show that helped set off Reason and EM Dolphin fan and Mr. Ballgame. We're going to do that too. So it's in the works right now. So people are saying go first round wide receiver. I don't know about that. My whole thing is, guys, if we're sitting at, let me say this. Okay. Hopefully the Dolphins hire Vance Joseph. There's no way that's the real Florida-born, Kentucky-grown. No way. I don't believe you. You're a troll. I don't believe you for 1 second. Florida-born does not have that picture. This is a troll job. I do not want, okay. My issue is I think the guys I want are going to be gone by the time we draft right now. So, I want Drake London. I'll be down with Traylon Burks. Olave and Wilson. I kind of like Burks and Drake London a little bit better, but I think those guys are going to be gone. And I'm going to say you right now, the sweet spot, we might be in the sweet spot to draft the best running back on the board. I mean, think about it. If you're sitting at 25 or 26, receivers have already been taken. Defensive ends have already been taken. The linebacker run may start depending on how much people love Devin Lloyd and Nakobe Dean, right? They might be gone. They might go early 20s. What else? Okay, well, we're obviously not drafting a quarterback. Think about it. Corners the run will already start on corners. We don't need a safety. Think about it. Yet the cream, we'll be sitting there potentially like we were with the Noah Benogany pick with the cream of the crop running back still there. And God makes an interesting point. I want to say this. Bubba, I think Tyler Linderbaum, I'm down for Tyler Linderbaum, the center of an Alabama. I think he'll be gone, bro. Tackles will already be run on. Ike Mikwanu, the top guards. Remember, maybe Kenyon Green's still there. but like guards will start be going too. So, but the thing is, you'll have your whole selection, your top running back, right? Like, and so my whole thing with I know me and Martin have talked about this up here and privately. I love Kenneth Walker. My only thing was under the Brian Flores regime, I knew they wouldn't draft a guy like Kenneth Walker. I'm gonna tell you right now, if they hire a guy like Mike McDaniel, Kenneth Walker is on the board. Kenneth Walker is on the board. Now, if under the Flores regime, I do not think they would have taken Walker that high because he's not a very good blocker. But you put him under, like, bro, you ain't got a block under Mike McDaniel. And welcome, Martin. He knows what's up. I was telling this a couple of days ago. Mike McDaniel, he don't give a crap about blocking. And you look at Kenneth Walker aside from blocking, and he's deadly. So he's way more on the board with a Mike McDaniel than a Brian Flores guy. He's right back in there. And honestly, guys, I don't want to draft any more young offensive linemen. Like Ryan Jensen I'm going to do like last year. I'm going to do my, my free agent, my top 10 free agents like last year. I want Ryan Jensen. Okay. Go sign one of these big tackles out there. Like, let's start blending some veterans in this. And then you can go get my boy Abraham Lucas in the second or third, and your right tackle is fixed. But let's start blending some veterans in here. I would kick Dieter back to guard. I would draft a center, especially if Mike McDaniel, you're going to go zone blocking. So Tyler Linderbaum would be perfect if he was sitting there, to be honest. But I want a couple of starting offensive linemen, high caliber offensive linemen. We have the money. I would rather draft a running back at 25, 24, 26 and spend money on the offensive line. And then, if there's money left over, fill out needs and then focus on getting another wide receiver and a linebacker, one of those through free agency and one through the draft. To be honest with you, I want a veteran wide receiver too. I'd be down with drafting a rookie wide receiver, but don't talk to me until the third round. I want to get our running back and our linebacker in the first 2 rounds, and then let's talk wide receiver in the third round. I want to sign a legitimate veteran wide receiver. Give me at least 2 veteran starting offensive linemen, and let's start rolling, baby. And you can go draft. Now that you give me that offensive line and you give me that other weapon, I can draft an explosive young running back. I can afford to draft an explosive young running back if I get that offensive line fixed. I really want. I need the center to be veteran, and we need one of these tackles to be a legitimate veteran too. And you know what, Kieran? We'll get into the Calvin thing, because the Calvin thing, I would do if it's true. I would do it. I would do in a second. See, Duke, I'm down with keeping the Duke, but that's not our guy, bro. Like, Dylan, the Robinson I want comes out next year from Texas. Barry, I love Drake London out of USC. He's exactly what we actually need. But I don't want another young receiver. I need a veteran receiver, man. Because, you look at Calvin Ridley, for example. Calvin Ridley's set to make $11.1 million next year. Okay? Look at what Devontae Parker's set to make. I'd rather put that money towards the Calvin Ridley. And so, Walker, Rome, the problem with not taking Walker at 26 is you got to take your running back at 26, because look at where we pick in the second round. The top 3 guys are going to be gone. I want Kyron Williams, but the top 3 guys are going to be gone by the time we pick in the second round. Russell says you should be the one running scouting and personnel for this team. Let me know, baby. If there's an opening, holla at your boy. Guys, there's already 306 of you in the room. Pound that like button. Let's get the likes up, man. And subscribe if you're new here. Yo, I'm only 4 away from 6,000. 4. So let's go. Because what do we pick in the second round? In the second round, what do we pick? Like 47? I want to say we picked 47. I guarantee you all 3 running backs are gone by 47. Well, top 3 running backs. You can take Kyren Williams, who I think is the best rounded out running back. Everyone knows he's my man crush. Why do I look so exhausted? Because I've been up since 6:45 a.m. With my kids. That's why I probably look 50. So there you go, 50. So there you go. Even worse. Remember last time they wanted to wait for J.K. Dobbins to 56. Now we ended up getting Raekwon Davis, so I ain't gonna hate on it. Martin, don't go stealing my Abraham Lucas love, okay? I drive that train, my friend. You can be my co-conductor. You can shovel the coal into the fire pit while I steer the engine, steer us on the tracks. Yes, Junior Williams from ND is amazing. Kyren Williams is a beast. James Cook, you could get him in the mid rounds. I'm down with that. Zamir White too, out of Georgia. I like Trevor Penning. He's all right. JFam. Daniel Fallel. If we want a real beast at right tackle, let's get Daniel Fallel out of Minnesota. Y'all know I'd be loving Minnesota players all over the past couple of years. You know, I'd be loving them. Tyler Johnson, who ended up going to the Bucs. Y'all know I love Rashad Bateman, who I'd still say before that injury in training camp was on pace to beast mode this year. And then Daniel Fallel, he's a beast. James Cook, Kieran, he's out of Georgia. He's a running back out of Georgia. Hunter, I like Brian Robinson out of Alabama, but guys, the real running back is coming out of next year. Beyond Robinson out of what people call him. Some people call him Bijan. I call him Beyond Robinson out of Bijan Robinson out of Texas. Bijan Robinson. Troy Hicks. Yeah, I like Brian Robinson. He's okay. My primary free agency signing would be center. If you center in a perfect world, for some reason I think the market for I think people are sleeping on him. I think the market for Allen Robinson is going to be down this year, and that's because Justin Fields brought him down. You go if we can't get Calvin Ridley, you got to look into Allen Robinson, man. Yeah, that Buda Baker. Yo, can I be honest? That Buda Baker hit was brutal, but those primetime games the last 2 nights sucked. I mean, I like seeing the Patriots get blown out, but I'd rather see them get blown out at 1 or 4 in the afternoon. I'm not trying to see them get blown out at the night game. And then yesterday, man, everyone knows I'm a Kyler Murray fan, and that hurt to watch. I like Nakobe Dean. I like Devin Lloyd. I like them both. Get both Ridley and Robinson. I'm greedy. Yeah. That would be ridiculous. Yeah, I agree, Rome. I don't think he's washed at all, bro. The guy produced what he could produce with Mitch Trubisky. He just didn't want to be there. They franchised him. He wanted to leave. They wouldn't let him leave. He's out. Do I think Nakobe drops us? I mean, the mid-20s is a soft spot when linebackers start going too. I mean, he could, but I don't know. That kid's a beast. Man, if we came out, Irving, I gotta say this. Okay, we're gonna get into this. I don't know what I have, guys. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Does anyone else have the feeling that Brian Daboll's gonna flame out? I love David Bell. My problem with Jahan Dotson, Gio, is he's too small. I love David Bell out of Purdue. Christian Harris at Alabama is a beast linebacker. But back to Daboll. Am I the only one who's worried that Brian Daboll might flame out and this might be a bad hire for whoever he got? Because we'll get into it. The word is that the Giants, could be interested in this. And I don't know. I have a bad feeling about Daboll. I don't know what it is. Like, that's why I'm kind of hoping we don't go with him. I mean, y'all saw where I had him. I had him as like my number 6th option. Like, I was fine with him, but he was like at the bottom of the guys I was fine with. I just got a bad feeling about. I don't know what it is. I just got a real bad feeling. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. Ozzy, I've heard Daboll is the front runner. So I've been saying that for a minute. Martin, can we get wide receivers A-Rob, Ridley, Juju, and I believe you mean Devontae Adams there. Bro, you give me Ridley, I'm happy. Everyone knows I love Calvin Ridley. Give me him. But I just got give me Calvin Ridley on that list. I'm fine with a couple others on that list. Like, if you want me to order that list, I would go Calvin. No, I'd go Devontae Adams, then I'd go Calvin. But Devontae going to cost money. He's going to stay. I think Devontae's going to stay with Rodgers. But if you have Devontae Adams, Ridley, A-Rob, then Juju. I sold you on McDaniel. Bro, I love McDaniel. McDaniel train starts here. I see people writing articles trying to get clicks off Mike McDaniel because they see where it's at because it's catching fire. All right, let's my thing though back before we're about to get into this, but I want to go through give updates because people keep asking what's the update with Harbaugh, what's the update, So let's go through this. But before I do, I just got a bad feeling about Brian Daboll. I don't know what it is, but I'm like sitting here thinking to myself, like, I don't know if this is gonna work for him. I don't know, like, you see a lot of the stuff is Josh Allen improvisation, big arm, I don't know, man. We'll see, but I don't know, man. If we're gonna go first time head coach, I'd rather swing for the fences with Mike McDaniel. That's just me. All right. So Jim Harbaugh. For the latest Jim Harbaugh update, let's go head over here to Twitter. This is what the deal with Jim Harbaugh is. So, and this was as of last night. So it's my understanding Michigan and Jim Harbaugh have had productive talks on a new deal. Competitive offer package has been made. At this point, it's about what Harbaugh wants to do. Michigan, as I understand it, welcomes Jim Harbaugh at University of Michigan, but some at Michigan wonder if he's torn about the NFL. And there's rumors circulating right now that one of the dismissals of Mike Mayock was to basically make room for potentially courting Jim Harbaugh. And the other team that I'm hearing is the Giants because they don't have a GM in place. But I'm going to say this in regards to Jim Harbaugh. If this man comes back to the NFL and we did not make a full court press, what the hell is the use of you, Mr. Ross? Okay. You haven't done very much positive for this franchise. You got a chance to bring in here the best candidate and the biggest splash candidate because he is the best candidate available. And if you let another team swoop in and get him, and the whole time this is what I heard. Okay. I was told that when he interviewed back with us before he took the Niners job, not only did his wife want to stay out on the West Coast, but that he just did it out of a courtesy. It was because he was talking about the Michigan job even back then. So if this guy got played the whole time, just so this guy could be the coach at Michigan and he comes back for a second time, and now this guy does not bring him to his business, what the hell use is you and your connections, Mr. Ross? Like, I'm sorry. If you do not get this done and this guy comes somewhere. This guy better stay at Michigan. If this guy does not stay at Michigan, he comes to the NFL. Someone tell me what the hell the point of Stephen Ross is. So that's the latest on Harbaugh. Now, speaking of Brian Daboll, just an update for you guys. This was Sunday, right? Brian Daboll interviewed for the Dolphins and the Bears. And Leslie Frazier also interviewed for Miami and the Bears on that same Sunday. So the day after they won, after they blew out the Patriots. And another thing people got to remember too, you actually can't sign a head coach until their team is eliminated as well. So even if they wanted to hire Daboll right away, they can't. So I mean that tells you. I mean, look at it. Like, let's be honest. They interviewed him, and they with Leslie Frazier, they executed the Rooney Rule as well. So, I've still heard to this time that Brian Daboll is the front runner. I've not heard different. It has not changed. Personally, I'm worried. I'm really, really worried. Like, if we want to talk about a guy getting a head coaching job for being a quarterback whisperer, then why isn't Pep Hamilton in the conversation? Andrew Luck, Justin Herbert, Davis Mills. This guy took Josh Allen. I mean, he did all right with Matt Moore, but like let's have a serious conversation here right now. If we're going for quarterback whisperer, then the move right now would be Pep Hamilton, not Brian Daboll. And I'm not saying hire Pep Hamilton. Like, I would take Pep Hamilton as our OC. Like, I think that man, like, I would hire him right away as our OC. I think that'd be one of the smartest hires. I think if someone could bring in Pep Hamilton as our OC and Vic Fangio as their DC, my God, what a staff. Mike McDaniel with that staff, oh my goodness gracious. But, I'm just saying, if Brian Daboll is being considered to this extent because of the work he's done with Josh Allen and that offense, where's the love for Pep Hamilton? Again, developed Andrew Luck at Stanford, took the OC job with the Colts when Luck was there, made them a top 5 offense in the NFL, developed and helped Herbert translate in his first year to the NFL, developed and helped Davis Mills translate in his first year of the NFL. Like, Pep Hamilton should be in this conversation more than Brian Daboll. Tell me I'm wrong. Someone tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. No, I do not believe Xavier Howard gets traded this offseason. But anyways, tell me I'm wrong on that. Pep Hamilton deserves it. All right. Moving on. Next. Sticking with Brian Daboll and why the Miami Dolphins may have to, make a decision very, very quickly. Here's the deal. Bills assistant GM Joe Schoen is going through his second interview with the Giants today in East Rutherford, per sources. Obviously, this is a sign the GM process there is accelerating a bit. Schoen landing the job could also put OC Brian Daboll in play for New York. So now they're getting a little bit of I've still heard, I reported last week, I've still heard the New York Giants are the preferred destination of Brian Flores as well. So I've heard a dark horse is Rick Smith as GM there with Brian Flores. And I've heard Watson loves the Giants thing because he believes that's where he can repair his image best, is in New York. So there you go, some competition for Daboll. So, I don't know. Personally, I'd be really interested to see what they do if he left. All right, here we go. This is a big one. Let's talk about this for a sec. Let's talk about this. I'm going to tell you why it's a big one. Dan Quinn, guys. Today it was announced that Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, has 4 interviews set. He'll meet with the Broncos today, Vikings tomorrow, Dolphins on Thursday, and Bears on Saturday, per source. Why this is key? I had him number 4 on my list. I had Harbaugh, then I had Caldwell, then I had McDaniel, then I had Dan Quinn. Why I'm really ponying up to Dan Quinn is, first of all, I've heard rumblings that he might hire Ken Norton on his staff, and he just got fired today too. But there was an article, and it was an ESPN Plus article, so you have to pay for it. And Jeremy Fowler mentioned that Dan Quinn has a quote-unquote killer staff lined up. So, we already knew Dan Quinn could put together a staff. Remember, Matt LaFleur and Mike LaFleur came up under him. Kyle Shanahan came up under him. Mike McDaniel came up under him. He's always been able to put, as good of a defensive mind as he is, he's always been able to hire right offensively, right? So, I believe he hired Sarkisian too. So, apparently he has a really good staff lined up right now. And that's what makes it interesting. So, Dan Quinn, he'll be interviewing on Thursday with the Miami Dolphins. All right, moving on further. Now, this is a guy, he was on my, I don't want any part of that list. Kellen Moore, the OC, he's going to be interviewing with us this week. Personally, not. No. If we're gonna go first time, you know what? I can live with Daboll, I guess, even though I don't think it's gonna work out. But no, I'm sorry. I gotta pass on this one. But they will be interviewing him today. I got to give you guys all the updates, just so you guys are up to date with what's going on in terms of the coaching search. So it's starting to ramp up now that a couple teams are getting knocked out, right? So I'm going to pass on Kellen Moore, but they're going to do the due process and they're going to interview him. All right, now the moment you've all been waiting for. Mike McDaniel. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Mike McDaniel, he will interview for the Dolphins head coaching job tomorrow afternoon per sources. It will be done via video conference because of San Fran's short week constraints. So they're not going to get him in person, but what they're probably going to do, I would imagine, is whoever they like, they're going to narrow it down and they're going to have second interviews anyways. So if San Francisco get knocked out this weekend, they could very well bring him in for second interview next week. So I wouldn't read too much. I was told not to read too much into that. So they'll be meeting with him tomorrow, though. So I cannot wait. I guarantee he blows them away on Zoom and he makes a short list. And I really hope he gets a second interview. So I'm really interested to see how they go. So Mike McDaniel, choo, the train keeps on chugging. And tomorrow we will be meeting with them. I'm going to do my damnedest to see if I can get any insight, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. I kept getting told it's like such a tight-lipped ship right now. It is tight-lipped right now. So, we'll see, but I'm telling you right now, San Francisco fans, they don't want to lose this guy. Last year when we tried to make him an OC, San Fran blocked it and he wanted to take the promotion anyways. So progress will be made one way or another tomorrow. All right. Now, some interview requests from someone from our staff that is actually being requested to be interviewed. And that's the Bears have put in a request to interview ex-Raiders GM Reggie McKenzie, now the Dolphins senior personnel executive, for their open GM spot. We're going to lose one, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to lose one, potentially. Don't want to lose him. That would be a big loss. Do not want to lose Reggie McKenzie by any stretch of the imagination. Big part of our front office. So just an update that interviews are going both ways right now. All right. Continuing on. Let's stay on the Dolphins front right now before we get into a couple other things. Emmanuel Ogbah, guys. Drew Rosenhaus, who represents Emmanuel Ogbah, recently spoke about the contract situation between them and the Miami Dolphins. And this is what was said.
But he had a great season. Does he want to stay, and how much will he command?
Well, those are two good questions that I can't answer. All I can tell you is that we'll listen to the Dolphins. Emmanuel's a free agent come March 16th. The bottom line is that he has enjoyed the 2 years that he's been here in Miami. But we weren't able to get a deal done. And so right now it's a wide open situation. He certainly would consider coming back. He hasn't ruled anything out. But when you go into free agency, it is wide open. So we'll have to wait and see how that shakes out. Certainly there's mutual interest there on both sides, but that's about as far as I can get into that.
I mean, talk about non-committal. I don't know how they did not wrap this guy up last year before taking care of Sanders and Baker. I mean, that does not sound good. You know a team's going to come in and they're not going to get into a bidding war, and Emmanuel Ogbah's going to leave. Absolutely brutal. Like, you know, saying we'll listen isn't very, assuring. Let's put it that way. And then he wouldn't even say, he couldn't answer if he still wants to be here. So I don't know how they didn't take care of this last offseason, and now he could be potentially leaving. Brutal, 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 man. If we lose Emmanuel Ogbah, oh my Lord, man. Oh my Lord. Oh. Okay, let's get into Calvin Ridley, and then I got something I want to read in regards to Deshaun Watson and Stephen Ross. And then after that, we are going to get into the pros and cons of keeping Tua Tagovailoa or trading or drafting a new quarterback. So let's start off with Calvin Ridley. In regards to Calvin Ridley, guys. So this is what Jeremy Fowler reported today. He said Falcons will trade Calvin Ridley to a contender. Ridley missed 12 games after stepping away from football to work on his mental health. But assuming he's back in an NFL lineup in 2022 and is in a good space, several teams view him as a top 10 receiver. His market would be robust. Ridley is due a fifth-year option of $11.16 million next season. "Quote unquote, Atlanta is cash strapped and needs pieces along the offensive line so they could use the draft capital," an NFC scout said. What could the Falcons get in return? One league exec says a conditional second-round pick, which could turn into a first-rounder based on playing time. Seems like a sweet spot for Ridley. That would allow the team to cover itself if he can't play a full season. The Patriots, Saints, and Dolphins are among what receiver-needy teams that could covet a top pass catcher like Calvin Ridley. I mean, a conditional second? I mean, let's go. You're not going to find a better receiver in any first round of the next 2 years than Calvin Ridley when he's at full health. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves here. This is a guy who was, picked 26th overall. If you redid that draft, he's not getting out of the top 10. And this is legitimately what we need next to, he's still 27. He's what we need next to Waddle right now. So, 6'1", 190. This guy's a beast, man. Go bring me this man. Let's go. Calvin Ridley is an absolute monster. That 2020 season, 1,300 yards, ridiculous, man. So, I mean, I'm down for it. I'm down for it. As long as he's straight and everything's good, Calvin Ridley for a conditional second, all day. Especially when we got 2 firsts the year after. Let's go. I'm down. I am down for Calvin Ridley, baby. Count me in. Especially if it means blocking him from going to a team like the Patriots. Please do your work. Do your work. And I would rather, get rid of Devontae Parker. So this guy's a beast. This guy is a monster. So hey, I'm down all day. Calvin Ridley for conditional second. I'll give you a hard second. Let's go. And I mean, here's the other thing. Guys, this man is from Fort Lauderdale. This guy went to high school in Coconut Creek. Bring him home. Bring him home. Y'all thought Duke was balling out because he's coming back home. What do you think this man's going to do? What do you think that man's going to do? Oh, no, we haven't talked to it yet. All right, we're going to get to that, but let's get into a quick little article on The Athletic. Again, you got to, it's from Jeff Howe, so it's a paid article, paid subscription, and it's called Russell Wilson in 2022, the Dolphins and Deshaun Watson, Patriots Aftermath, and more. So when we roll down here. All right, state of the Dolphins. There's some revisionist history happening in Miami. Dolphins owner Stephen Ross seems to be trying to distance himself from the team's pursuit of Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson. Since the team surprisingly fired head coach Brian Flores last week, Ross said it would be up to the next coach whether to try and acquire Watson, and some leaks have insinuated that Flores was the driving force behind an attempted trade. As Watson continues to face 22 civil lawsuits of alleged sexual misconduct, he has denied all claims. The leaks have attempted to portray Flores as the fall guy. The reality is Ross also wanted Watson to be a Dolphin. Ross tried to set up a phone call with Watson the night before the November 2nd trade deadline this season to see if the quarterback would resolve his legal situation to facilitate a trade. Watson wasn't prepared to settle and refused to speak to Ross. The Texans have wanted to Florio's saying he was ready to settle with 18 people. Florio's been wrong the whole time on this, by the way. That guy, Pro Football Talk, you guys are a joke with Sims, but Florio makes you worse. This is saying he wasn't ready to settle at all, and he didn't even field the call. So you tell me what Florio's really pushing over there. Texans have wanted at least 5 assets, including 3 first-round picks in any trade for Watson, according to sources. They also have no plans to reduce those demands when trade discussions resume this offseason. If Ross didn't want to deal for Watson because of Watson's legal situation or the price to acquire him, the Dolphins owner could have simply rejected the idea. Ross instead tried to lead the acquisition. Also consider the Dolphins were 1-7 with a 7-game losing streak at the time of the trade deadline. Flores' job security appeared far more tenuous at that point, so it feels unlikely that Flores could have been making personnel demands with the owner, especially while general manager Chris Greer was in charge of the roster. It's understandable that Ross, Greer, and Flores would all want to trade for Watson. For such a move to happen, all three had to be on board. The narrative shouldn't be rewritten in the aftermath of Ross and Greer banding together to fire Flores. Coaching candidates should also be taking notice. Flores led the Dolphins to consecutive winning records for the first time since 1997 to 2003. It didn't result in a trip to the playoffs, but the Dolphins have gotten to the postseason just twice in 20 years, and they haven't won a playoff game since 2000. Flores created a level of on-field stability, got fired. Many in the organization learned of the firing on Twitter, and got smeared on his way out the door. Flores has since interviewed with the Texans and Bears for the head coach vacancies. The Texans, according to a source, did not believe Watson would rescind his trade demand if they hired Flores, as Watson's grievances against the team have been centered on owner Cal McNair. So you see this, it's kind of painting the picture that, Ross did ask, to speak to him, but was turned down because Watson had no intention of settling the 22 lawsuits. And that even if they do hire Flores in Houston, he still wants out. That doesn't change things. So, and I don't believe with the whole notion that we smeared Flores on the way out. Flores was doing a pretty damn good job with his PR group of protecting his ass and coming at us. So, but there you go, a conflicting report to what Florio said. He's been wrong all along. So, interesting stuff there, man. We'll see what happens though. Watson, he'll be traded. I still think if Flores goes to New York, I think that's where Watson lands. I think that's definitely where Watson lands. So, Z-Man, every coach has a PR group. Florio is irrelevant, and Rome, you going in. All right, let's get into my pros and cons, and I want to open up for a bit and hear what you guys have to say in regards to the pros and cons here. 492 of you in the room right now. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. So let's start off. Let's start off with Tua. All right. So let's go over the pros and cons of keeping Tua Tagovailoa. All right. So number one, it's clearly obvious the kid still has room for growth and development. He still has a ceiling to be obtained. It's just a matter of putting the right staff in place, not around it, but in place offensively, because we haven't really had that yet. And then on top of that, just giving him some protection. I'm not even going to sit here and splurge over weapons and such. I think if you just give him protection, I think that'll be, good enough. The kid's 14-8 as a starter right now. You go back to 2019, and I think he's only one of three. I believe it's Kyler, him, and Mac Jones are the only three quarterbacks since the 2019 class that have winning records. So, even with deficiencies around him in terms of the offensive line, the run game, play calling at times, not having a staff that really believes in him, to a certain extent, he still managed to become out 14-8 as a starter. That is something to definitely build off. Number three, and this is a big one, is the cheap contract. Let's be honest for yourselves. This guy's not making over $10 million for the next 3 years. It's in everyone's benefit that this guy works out just based off the financial numbers alone. It's in our benefit that this hits. All right. You look at his numbers right now, those are the numbers where, all these teams win the most, because that's the position you're going to have to pay the most. Right. And so, what's his salary next year? I think his salary next year is, so his base salary is $895,000. Signing bonus is $4.8 million. So he's about $8.256 million the year after. He's 9.63. And then he has an option the year after. So, right now, it's in the best interest just based off the contract alone. Number 4, the level of comfortability with the organization and players established. So this guy knows Waddle. This guy, if you're going to keep DVP, he knows DVP. You look at that receiving room, guys are going to stick around. There's a certain level of comfort he has with Greer, with players on the defense and such. I mean, Landon Roberts, for example. You just can't put a price tag on that. Now, there is a flip side to that that's in the cons, and we'll talk about that. But right now, he's comfortable with everyone in place. Obviously, there's going to be changes happening. But, I mean, look at the chemistry with him and Waddle. The chemistry with him and Waddle is just, that's something you can't put a price tag on right now. And then my last pro here is a third year really does give you a firm evaluation. I've always said, going back to even before we drafted Tua, I've always been consistent that I think you got to give quarterbacks at least 3 years. You'll find out what they are in terms of, you'll find out if they're injury prone. You'll find out whether they're worth a further investment or not. Third year is key because you got to know by going into your fourth year if you're going to be having to give that option year. And I think the third year is when, things start to click. And if they're not clicking mentally in terms of reading defenses, disguises, et cetera, like by year 3, you've seen the majority of what can be thrown at you at the NFL level. You've done a bunch of film work. By year 3, you've seen a lot. Right? So, I mean, by year 3, you should have 48 games. Now, he's obviously missed some. He only started 10 in his rookie season. And then this year, he missed some games too, right? But if he stays healthy, I mean, we're going to have around 40 games if he stays healthy next year. So we'll have a pretty firm evaluation of where he's headed, on what side of the curve he is. So third year to me is always the key year. That's always the key year for any player at any position, right? So, and I know I see the carousel of offensive coordinators. Listen, this is something he's been putting up with that since Alabama, right? Like, let's be honest with ourselves. He's been putting up with this stuff in Alabama. And the other key thing too about the third year is he's going to get a second off season. Last year was rehab into strength with Perform. This year, strength into skills. So, his body's going to be, again, even better than what it was this year. And he will be, he'll be officially almost 3 years removed from the hip injury too. Right? So we'll know pretty much if he's ever going to get back that torque he had at Alabama into his throws, which existed tons of times. So, there's tons of instances of it on tape. So by year 3, we should know too what the full limitations of the hips are probably going to be moving forward. All right. Now, here's the cons of keeping Tua Tagovailoa. So his ceiling is still a projection. Burrow and Herbert, their ceiling, isn't as much of a projection. They're already showing franchise top 10 qualities. Now, I've gone as high as saying Tua is showing top 15 qualities this year. Remember? I was saying, in November, he's showing that he was a top 15 quarterback. So I haven't called him top 10 yet. I can sit here and say those guys have shown flashes of top 10 brilliance. Tua hasn't given us that yet. So his ceiling is still a projection, especially with a new head coach coming in. And the scary thing about that is the second con. No third-year leap would mean another year lost for guys like Xavier Howard and Byron Jones who are closing on 30. You know what I mean? You know, it just, another year on our defense. So the third-year leap is so crucial if he's going to get it. And if that projection does not follow through and we do not get that leap, that's a scary, scary outcome. Now this third one can be a positive because it can set you up for the next guy, but he needs money and draft capital used to build around him. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. You're going to have to spend a bunch of money on the offensive line. You're going to have to figure out to get him a way to get him a running game, add some depth behind Waddle's weapons. You have to build around him. Now, you would have had to build anyways, but for example, you're going to have to build more around Tua offensively than you would, say, a Deshaun Watson or say you would an Aaron Rodgers right now if he was playing at the level he's currently playing at. Those guys need less built around them. So, the fact is you're going to need money and draft capital to build around him, which, it's a pro in the long run because even if Tua doesn't work out, the new guy walks in. So, number 4, Jay Hall, Malik Willis in the second round. The problem with him is, first of all, because of his athletic traits, I don't know if he gets to the second round. Second of all, the guy's so raw as a passer and reading defenses and reading all 3 levels that guy's going to need a ton of work, man. But because of his athletic traits, I don't even think he gets to the second round. Dolphins catering to him in head coaching search is my 4th con here. And the reason why I say that is because, there's 53 players on a roster. There's not over 90 when you get to OTAs. I mean, basing it around one person who's not even a Marino right now, I don't agree with that whatsoever. I don't agree with that whatsoever. Catering your head coaching search potentially to Tua Tagovailoa, if that's the main reason why they're loving Daboll, then I got an issue with that. I would rather you get the coaching position right than cater to one player, two or whoever. And then number 5, there's always going to be a level of mistrust due to the Watson situation played out. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. Let's say that he takes that third-year leap. Let's say he starts playing well. This guy comes in 2 years to the negotiation table when the option year is about to kick in. Well, you think he's going to be nice? I mean, you got to then if this guy pops off the next 3 years, you got to do some damage control and become his best friend. Because we went from saying earlier, in regards to, when we drafted Tua, we're like, oh, maybe, he could take a hometown discount. No. If he balls out because of what the Watson thing, and I gotta say this too. Actually, you know what? I'll save it for after. All right, so those are the pros and cons I came up with for keeping Tua Tagovailoa. Now let's get into the pros and cons for acquiring a new quarterback. So the pros: Watson, Cousins, Wilson, and Rodgers bring experience. I mean, we talked about the chemistry Tua has with Waddle and how you can't put a price tag on that. You can't put a price tag on experience. These guys, playoff experience, a couple of, Wilson, Rodgers, Super Bowls, Watson, a couple playoff wins, Cousins. I mean, we could say what we want about him choking in the playoffs, but he's been there at least. And that's something we haven't had a top 12 quarterback that has legit experience under his belt in a long time. So that is a big pro, right? They're going to need to cater to, and no development needed. These guys, well, Watson still has some ceiling to be reached, but these guys are way more out of the box than what Tua is in terms of finished product, obviously. Number 2, Watson, Cousins, Wilson, and Rodgers bring peace of mind with stability at the position. Listen, here's the thing. We can all hate on Cousins as we want, right? The fact is, go look at Cousins' numbers over the past couple of years. All these guys, we wouldn't be worrying about the quarterback position. Like Rodgers, we might worry about it in a couple years. Cousins, I think, would worry about it when our defense starts falling apart because then he's useless. But, Wilson, we wouldn't be worrying for a couple of years as well. And Watson, we wouldn't be worrying about it for a decade. So we'd at least get a couple of years of peace of mind and stability at the position. You know what I mean? We got 4 guys there that we can put up more than 30 touchdowns a year. And again, I don't want Cousins. I've just heard that he's a potential backup plan they've had in mind. The other thing is that I left Cousins off this one for you. Watson, Wilson, and Rodgers would attract notable free agents. Like, let's be honest. If Rodgers is going to leave Green Bay, which I don't think he's going to, let me get that out there too. If he was going to leave, you don't think Devontae Adams would follow him here? Russell Wilson, if he left, you don't think he could attract guys down to Miami that want to play with him? Deshaun Watson, you don't think he would attract notable free agents that want to come out to Miami and play with them? 90% of the league lives here in the offseason and then come play with those guys. It's easier to project better offensive production with Watson, Cousins, Wilson, and Rodgers. I mean, it just is. We know what we're going to get from them. You go look at Cousins. We're going to get 30 plus touchdowns. We're going to get 7 to 10 interceptions. You look at Watson, the same thing, but maybe 5,000 yards. Rodgers, we know we might get MVP level. Russell Wilson, we know we could get a guy in the talk for MVP that year. So it is easier it's easier to project our offensive production with those guys there and to see where our offense is going to be behind them. And then number 5, drafting a QB allows, that's why I got Sam Howell in the pick here, allows the new head coach to get his guy. If a new head coach comes in here and they don't want to, well, we got to roll with them. And if they don't want to trade for someone and they got someone in the draft they like or someone coming out next year in the draft they like, got to roll with it. Especially if it's a guy like McDaniel. I mean, look what Trey Lance looked like under 1 year in McDaniel. He looked really good when he was out there. So, if Harbaugh comes in and says, I don't want him, what are we going to say? Same with like a Jim Caldwell, So, drafting a QB does allow our new head coach to get his guy, and it gives him the freedom of getting his guy. So, all right, now let's get into the cons of acquiring a new quarterback this offseason heading into the 2023 season. Here it is. So guys like Cousins and Wilson, they require an O-line and weapons with a bigger price tag. So they're coming in with their quarterback contracts, but they also require you to spend on an offensive line and weapons, just like how you would with Tua, who's on the much cheaper price tag. Wilson can say what he wants, but he needs an offensive line. He needs weapons. I mean, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, they've had a good running game, whether it's been Carson or Penny stepping up for them. I mean, and then Cousins too. Cousins has had, before Justin Jefferson, he had Stephon Diggs, and he has Adam Thielen. You know what I mean? And he has Dalvin Cook. These guys need a running game. They need wide receiver weapons. They need an offensive line to protect them. You might as well see what you can do with Tua if you're going to have to give an offensive line and weapons anyways. Number 2 is Rodgers' age, and I've said this before. Everyone knows Kyler Murray and Aaron Rodgers are my 2 favorite non-Dolphin players. The problem with Aaron Rodgers, he's about to hit 40. When's he going to take that nosedive? And I still think he's staying in Green Bay, like I said, but I don't want him to put on our jersey and he takes that nosedive. Because I'm not going to assume he trains like Tom Brady in the offseason. The guy comes looking like he just came out of the bush when the new season starts. So Rodgers' age to me is a big turnoff. Watson's issues are not settled. I mean, you saw it. He wasn't prepared to settle. That's why he didn't talk to Stephen Ross. Right now he's untouchable really until the criminal charges are dealt with and the civil cases are settled and it's discovered what his punishment's going to be. And that's a while away, because even if he doesn't get indicted in a couple weeks, the fact of the matter is he's still got to deal with the civil stuff. Cousins, Wilson, Rodgers, and Watson have large cap hits. I mean, we're getting into now the 40 million range with these guys, the 30 to 40 million range. Now we're not playing with money. Now the window becomes real. The window becomes short. The window becomes real. So, I mean, if you're going to take on one of those hits, you better have your ish lined up, because the wiggle room, it's not there very much anymore. And then obviously drafting a QB means we are rebooting the development and maturation process at the position. So again, we're hoping a young rookie can flash and carry the load and everything's getting settled in around him, but we don't know. So, which I don't see them wanting to go down if they're moving off Tua, especially because they got 2 first-round picks the year after. I'm, the thought of rebooting the development and maturation process at quarterback, that scares me, man. And it's a road I don't really want to go down right now. So to me, it's 2 or a bust when you're talking about young quarterbacks right now. So, and I know there's a lot of Kenny Pickett fans and such like that. Kenny Pickett is not a better prospect coming out of Pitt than Tua was coming out of Bama. Kenny Pickett had 1 good year. People trying to correlate him to Joe Burrow are crazy. Joe Burrow was so much more polished than Kenny Pickett coming out. Like, it's not even close. So I don't buy that overhype. I don't. Would I take Desmond Ridder in the 2nd round behind Tua? I got issues with Desmond Ridder and his accuracy. I really do. So those are the pros and cons to me. I mean, I'm going to say it this way. If they're going to trade Tua or they're going to get a quarterback, to me, it's Watson or bust. All right. But I've said give quarterbacks a 3rd year. Tua showed, especially in November, that, he could be worth investing in, to see if he can become that franchise quarterback. So that's where I'm at. I want to drop this link. I want to hear you guys' thoughts. Bring you guys up here for a little bit here. But that's if I were to come to a conclusion on the pros and cons, I don't think the Watson stuff is real right now. So just ride with Tua. But then again, it's going to be up to the new head coach, whoever that is. And that new head coach, it's going to be their decision. And I fully support that. You know, I'm totally down with that decision, especially if it's, you know, someone like Mike McDaniel or, you know, Jim Harbaugh, Jim Caldwell, someone that has the smarts. I'm down. Highly bred, says Van Dyke season. Man, I'd take Van Dyke over Bryce Young. Bryce Young's size kind of worries me a little bit. It's going to be heavy on Miami, huh? It's going to be heavy on the Van Dyke, especially from Dolphin fans. If that kid breaks out, it's going to be crazy. Who do I speculate Quinn would fill his staff out with? I mean, he could add Getsy, and he, you know, for OC, or he could add Norton, bring Norton over. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see. What if he offers McDaniels to come for lateral movement, but he'll allow him to run his offense and call plays? You know, many interesting scenarios. Z-Man Crypto. What's going on, boys?
What's going on? Reason what's going on?
What's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Man, be
it's a lot of
spaces all day.
No, I was gonna say Reason.
Oh, you talking about me?
Go.
Yeah.
Nah, I was gonna say Reason. Good info. Where I'm at, I was gonna say, well, until Stephen Ross comes out and conflicts to Stephen Ross, I'm just gonna go with the last press conference going forward because there's too many conflicting reports out here. So I just go from what the horse's mouth is, as far as whether we're gonna keep our quarterback or not, because it's just way too much minutia in the air.
Well, he said it's going to be up to the next head coach.
Right, but then somebody will come back behind him and say something otherwise, you know, and then that person will come back and debunk that person, and then it'll be an endless cycle of reports out there conflicting each other. So I'm just going to stick with Stephen Ross for right now.
Well, it would make sense. That's why they want Daboll, is because they want to stick with Tua.
None of this stuff, like,
right.
When I look at all this quarterback stuff, none of it makes sense, right? Because we're going to have to end up building a team anyway, right? So why don't we build it to a point where if the guy isn't the guy, then we just get another one, right? Isn't that the most logical? We got 2 first-round picks next year, right? Regardless of what happened with the season, 2 first-round picks is enough to get you in the top 10 of the draft to get you a quarterback. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of guys coming out next year. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, you know, it just doesn't make no sense to just trade away the guy just to draft the quarterback, to still have to build around the guy just for us to not even be sure if he is the guy or not, and we just end up giving up on a guy. Like, it's just a whole bunch of lateral moves, and they never really fix the issues doing that type of stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
they just gonna have to be certain. That's all.
Like, now we're at a point where, like, they can't start like, now you went from, you had all this money, you had all this capital, and you had wiggle room. Now, because of the situation we're in right now, with Flores gone, with Greer being the last man standing, with Tua at the current level of development he's currently at, you know, like, there's not much room for mistakes. Like, they need to save their asses. If Tua's not going to be the guy, they need to put the offense in place where they can say, well, we did everything. You know, and people used to say, well, you know, I don't believe that they didn't do everything for Tua. No, well, they tried.
Right, they attempted. They just
failed terribly.
That's all. Right.
Now
that's
they don't have the room to fail like they have over the last 2 years, because if they do, this could very well be a guy like Chris Greer's last offseason.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is make or break season. This offseason, this is make or break. He's
So
going to have to do what he did last offseason as far as the draft goes. And as far as free agency, he's going to have to do even better, actually. I would say we have to do better in free agency than he do in the draft. Because if he do go get Watson, he's going to need all that free agency capital to get what Watson need. You see what I'm saying? So I think his offseason will have to be even better than his draft, as far as him spending the money. Because if we keep Tua, it's a win-win situation if we keep Tua.
I don't think they're
You know what I mean?
I don't think they're getting Watson. I think it's
or if they go with another quarterback, even if they go with Wilson or Cousins, whomever they get other than Tua, they're going to have to use a lot of that money to build because they've given up the capital. Or if they keep with Tua, it's kind of a win-win in a way because
I think if
they
you
can
want
say we got a third year.
I think they're rolling with Tua. I don't think Wilson's going to come here. I don't think Watson's going to come here. I think he's going to go to New York if Flo goes there. I mean, they could roll. I don't think they're going to roll with Cousins. See, all the stuff that was being heard about the quarterback position was all prior to Flores being canned. Now that Flores has been canned, it's changed the whole, even this show idea with the pros and cons. I had this show idea in week 16, week 15, but now I just put it together into one segment on the show because if you ask me, betting man, I think it's all blown up. It's over. I think you have a.
Why you think because they're going after Daboll? Is the Daboll thing that's making you believe that way?
No. Even if they get a new head coach, I think your best shot is of them getting a new quarterback is them actually drafting one. I think a new head coach is gonna. I think one of the appealing things to the new head coach is going to be the $75 million in the draft capital over the next 2 years to build his team in his vision and shape it the way he wants, not give it all up for one player.
And the way Chris Greer restructured have his contract set up, there's always an out, so you always have a lot of cap space for the next year and the year after. So that could be pretty appealing for coaches as well.
That's true. But I think the only exception to that would be somebody like a very good coach like Harbaugh who can maybe take that chance. You see what I'm saying? Because he can compensate as far as the coaching staff goes and what he can build around. So he might be willing to give up. It might not hurt him a coach like that as much.
Here's the reality, bro. I give Harbaugh coming here a 5% chance at best. Oh
yeah, me too. Yeah. I think Harbaugh is.
I don't think he's coming here, bro. And I'm getting ready to get pissed off if he goes to an NFL team and they whiff. Daboll as head coach, Peterson as OC. Jose, I don't know if Peterson would take an OC job. I think he wants a head coach job. Pyro, what's going on, bro?
What's up?
What's up, Pyro?
What's good? Crypto, what's good? Is he, man?
Pyro, what's up, fam? You have the hole yet?
No. But until this head coaching gets cleared up, man, I'm staying in this hole. But I'm with reason. My whole enthusiasm with the Harbaugh thing is greatly diminished. I don't think he's come here either. I would be I'll be very fucking pissed off if he goes to a different, different NFL team and and we haven't did nothing. We didn't try to get him through the door or nothing. We didn't even interview the guy. You know what I'm saying? I would really be up the fucking wall if we don't do anything about that.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I don't know,
slip through your graphs.
I just, for some reason, I don't think he wants to come here.
That's true.
If that's his preference, then that's fine by me. But I would like to see that. Hey, at least we try to. Hey, come on, at least bring him in for interview. If he doesn't choose us, and that's fine by me. It's just, at least we try instead of just let's not try anything.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
What do you think, Reason? What do you think, Reason? This is where I'm at. I'm going to put a lot of pressure on the new coaching staff. This is why. Tua easily could have won us 11 games, right? You granted the Jacksonville game was solely on Flores debacle in the late in the fourth quarter, and it was Flores and the Atlanta game. It was Flores' defense.
And if we want to be real petty, all the Brissett losses were on on him too, because that was his guy that he chose.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you figure up additional 3 minimum, right? Additional wins. So we're 12-5, and if you throw in that Colts game, that's the 13th win. So let's go split it down the middle. Let's say we got a minimum of 11 wins. We're a playoff team, and that's with Flores as our coach. You got rid of that guy, right? So basically, by definition, your next guy should be an upgrade. So you should expect nothing less than 11 wins, just by definition, because you got rid of the guy who we should have won 11 games with in the first place, if you're being honest. And Tua wasn't the fault. It wasn't the fault of Tua. We could have won those games, even with Flores here. So you get rid of this guy, bring in a new coaching staff. Hey, you're supposed to win those games.
This is why I'm going to tell people in the comments, because I see people in the comments that want to let Watson go. This is why I'm going to tell you to let it go. The reason why they're doing damage control when Stephen Ross was trying to get him on the phone and they were trying to get a deal done, the reason why they're backpedaling right now is because they've probably been informed, like everyone else has been informed, that the Flores move changed the whole dynamic. They know better than anyone that he's probably not coming here now. That's why they're putting it all on Flores now. That's why they're because I know Ross was down. I know Ross's mind changed. That's why they're putting it all on Flores, because they know they don't have a chance at getting him probably. Listen, if you knew you were still a major player in the Watson stuff, why would you be saying what you're saying about Tua while also driving the narrative that, oh, Flores wanted him, Watson, but Flores isn't here anymore? That would make no sense. You would be you would be hearing Flores is gone, but nothing's changed inside internally. They still want Watson. Now you're not hearing that anymore. It's because it's changed.
He changed his mind. And
I'm telling you right now,
Ross.
They've looked at this draft class and they've said there's no one, just like last year, there's no one we want to move off of in this draft for Tua. Like they did it last year. I mean, look at that, the 3rd overall pick. The only reason they wanted Watson was because Flores was pushing him and they viewed him as an upgrade.
Yep.
They're going to look at this draft. They're going to be like, Tua's already 2 years deep, going into his 3rd year. No one here in this draft is an upgrade from him.
Right.
So they're not going to pick it. And if Tua doesn't work on the 3rd year, they're going to come back next draft with 2 first-round picks, and they're going to go attack it to try and go get their guy. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Who that other
moving to the top 10?
What?
Who that other first-round pick is from? 49ers?
Yeah.
Yes, it's from them. Yeah.
And that might be Trey Lance first year starting. So hopefully, hey, hiccups.
Well,
I don't know, Miro. I don't know. 49ers I don't know.
They manufacture wins, man.
Yeah,
Trey Lance started to look good near the end of the season.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know about that.
That pick could be in the 20s again.
And he's learning like that playoff experience and stuff. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, look forward to that being in the 20s, that pick.
Yeah, Trey's a beast. So, I mean, I really honestly, like I said before, if he's cleared, it's Watson or bust for me.
Yes,
but
absolutely, 100.
I wanted to talk about this. Did you guys see what Peyton Manning said yesterday during the Manning cast?
No, I didn't even get a chance to watch the Manning.
Peyton Manning said in his prime. Well, I mean, Eli corrected him, said in his prime, but Peyton Manning said the max distance he could throw as an NFL starter was 52 yards.
Yeah, 52.
Wait, Peyton's max distance or Eli's?
Peyton.
52. What?
Dude, this is what I'm trying to tell all of you. It's not about big bombs and sexy throws. It's about efficiency.
Oh,
precision.
It's efficiency, and then there's 3, 4, 5 big boy throws, which could be a corner out on a 15, 20-yard corner on third down and good coverage that you convert, or it could be a deep dig over the middle with a safety over top and a linebacker underneath that you got to place. Like, there's big boy throws you can make. Listen, if all you need to think about this, and this is what I said, Z-Man, you were in that space, right? Where I was going on about efficiency with that idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, what space you on?
Think about this. If I could kill you from 1 to 40 yards, just keyhole accuracy, just keyhole accuracy. I'm just on the money. Bro, I don't need to make 50 or 60-yard throws.
Exactly.
Wait, that Joe Montana made a career out of that.
But
The
that's what
1
I'm-
to 40-yard
that's what I'm
pass.
trying to- no,
Jerry
no,
Rice took it
no,
80
no,
yards.
I got into an argument with this guy in this space. Z-Man was there. It was like last week or whatever. And what's up, RJ? I'll get to you in a second. I'll get your thoughts. But my whole thing that I said was he was trying to tell me, oh, the league has changed. It's all about big, sexy throws now. I said, no, it's not, bro. I said, what are you talking about? Tom Brady made a career off of it. He won last year in Tampa. Oh, well, he had a bunch of deep throws all season. I said, well, how did he win in the Super Bowl? It was efficiency. It was don't turn the ball over, kill the clock, and he wasn't bombing it or all around the Chiefs defense.
Yep.
I said, it's efficiency, bro. That's how he won. That's how you win in the NFL nowadays is efficiency. You want to be efficient on all three levels, not turn the ball over, and you're gonna win, bro. Like you look at yesterday. Matt Stafford, he only threw for 202 yards, but look at how efficient of a game he had.
But in the running game,
Exactly.
they was running all over with Cardinals.
Yeah, exactly.
When his deepest pass 30 yards, I think Odell Beckham had the longest pass play in that game.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, it's about efficiency, bro. The big sexy cannon guys are sitting at home right now, other than Josh Allen.
That's it.
All
of them sitting at home.
Look at Joe Burrow. Look at Joe Burrow in the first game. Efficiency, bro.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of this is yak. A lot of yak.
Efficiency wins
Yeah.
games at the quarterback position. Drew Brees made a goddamn career off efficiency. Phillip Rivers never had the biggest arm.
He just had a fast release. His release was his thing.
But his game was efficient, bro. That's
right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got you. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The only thing that killed Phillip Rivers was his arm was dying on him. That was it.
Like, look at Mahomes. Mm-hmm. Mahomes isn't winning with big, sexy throws anymore. Have you noticed they take that away now?
Yep.
Yeah. He's doing 10-play drives now.
The league catches up to you, bro.
Yeah, they making them be patient. Yeah.
Telling these
same thing's gonna happen to Justin Herbert. League's gonna catch up to you, bro.
Yep.
Oh yeah, they're gonna start making them try to be patient.
Justin Herbert was the dude. Didn't he lead the league in passes around the line of scrimmage this year?
Yep.
Yeah, that was bad. You talking about batted balls and stuff?
No.
I know he had the most batted balls.
Completions around the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. Who, Justin Herbert?
Oh yeah,
Justin Herbert led the NFL. Yes,
he was.
Led the NFL now.
Oh,
he had like 51% of his completions was from 0 to 9 yards or behind the line of scrimmage. One of those.
Yeah, like that's like what up? You know what I'm saying? Like. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like efficiency, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what wins. And plus, he was only like 1/10 more in yards per attempt than Tua, anyways.
But when you look at that Rams game, I agree. Stafford was being efficient and everything, but you gotta look at this, man. I forgot who their running back was, but he was running all over the Cardinals.
Yeah, but Michelle had like 55 yards and Akers had 53. So they didn't even have one guy above like near even sniffing 100.
Crypto,
that was a pure committee.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you got to have a balance. I'm agreeing with what you're saying, that the balance attack and being efficient. You know, that's why I keep telling these freaking
Tom Brady always had a great running game. You know what I mean?
Always.
Exactly.
Look at Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon.
Yep.
Justin Herbert.
Austin Eckler,
bro. Look at, isn't it crazy that they fixed the offensive lines? They fixed the offensive line a bit in Cincinnati. They fixed it big time in LA. And Mixon and Eckler have career years, and both are in the top 5 in yards.
Yep.
Do you think that's a coincidence?
No.
Mixon was already a top 10 back with his shitty offensive line. Andy Dalton. What do you think he's going to do with an upgraded offensive line? T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and Jamar Chase getting attention. I mean, come on.
It's all about the quarterback to them. It's all about the quarterback.
Bro, did you see Dolphins Twitter yesterday while Kyler Murray was struggling, saying, I thought elite quarterbacks are supposed to like.
Hey, reason you
melting down.
Reason you see my tweets, man, I was trolling like freaking hell,
bro. He just seemed out of it, man. He was his demeanor, man. He wasn't even there, man. It seemed like he had checked out.
That was go win it by yourself, kid.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like he
yourself-
was
and
checked
then-
out. I'm
and
like,
then
what
also
the hell is going on?
Look at the offensive line. His offensive line. They wasn't holding their blocks, right? Seemed very fucking familiar, right? Seemed very fucking familiar. And I was like, it's just funny that when quarterback has the same situation that Tua is in, they don't perform well. And I'm not taking
we don't hear
anything from
Pete.
Kyler Murray, but you look at it's just what happens. It's the NFL, man. It's just what it is. It's the nature of the game. They lost in the trenches, and that's what's happening.
RJ, what's going on, buddy?
Yeah, he was.
What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Yeah, reason, by the way, I kind of agree with what you're saying. The way I always viewed it with quarterbacks was kind of like the bigger of an arm you have, the less you have to rely on anticipation and not making mistakes, right? So like you can definitely be successful without a big arm. You just have to be really good at anticipation and not making mistakes. Like Phillip Rivers, that was kind of Phillip Rivers' problem. Like he didn't have a big arm, but he was also like a 2-to-1 touchdown interception guy. And it kind of like you could kind of see it over his whole career why he never really took it to that next level. So, I mean, and Breeze is like, obviously guy never made a mistake and he threw with tremendous anticipation. So, I mean, if Tua can get there with his anticipation and not make the mistakes he's been making these 2 years, he could definitely be at that level. But he does need to clean that up, which he's young. So we'll see if he does.
Definitely.
Todd, what's going on, buddy?
Did you see how Tua
What's
was
up,
doing
Todd?
that?
What's up, Todd?
What's going on? You see how Tua was doing that play action fake, man? He had the defenders diving for the running back, giving him time. And Flores is the first defensive-minded coach that I've ever seen that doesn't want a running game and a powerful offensive line.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's weird. Yeah.
I mean,
At least
they had to know they weren't getting power in a mean streak when they drafted Austin Jackson at 18.
Yeah. He's trying to be finesse.
Yeah, but think about all the
They tried to be
defensive coaches,
smart.
the defensive-minded head coaches. They've always wanted to have a running game to complement their defense.
Defense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like Mike Tomlin did in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Trade for Mike Tomlin.
Yeah. Definitely down. We put him on billboards in South Florida.
Would you all trade for Sean Payton? Would y'all give up a first-round pick if it was the 25th overall for Sean Payton?
No.
In a heartbeat.
Yes.
No, I'm sorry. No,
I would.
Nope. After that,
He can make up for it later in the draft.
Debacle in Philadelphia, I'm
Yeah,
good.
but hey, the one thing I like about Sean Payton, he's an offensive-minded coach, but look how good the Saints defense has been.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
He's always put together a good staff.
He's
Right.
a well-balanced coach.
Maybe he'll just bring Dennis Allen with him.
He'll get together our offensive line. That'll make up for that running back we would have picked.
What do you guys think about
anyways.
what I said? I'm worried that Brian Daboll's going to flame out. I don't know what it is. I
Well,
just got
I feel that way, too.
real worry. I don't know why.
I'm sorry. I would take that offensive coordinator from San Francisco over Daboll.
Mike McDaniel, yeah.
Yeah, McDaniel. Hey, don't sleep on Thomas Brown. That guy's getting a lot of attention now. He's getting a lot of buzz, man.
As a matter of fact,
I don't think we're
McDaniel,
gonna. The only reason, okay, so this is why the reason why Thomas Brown isn't going to get the job is the two reasons why they're even first of all, they headed into this process. They didn't want a first-time coach. The only reason that Daboll and Mike McDaniel are getting interviews and getting the look that they're getting is because Daboll's connection to Tua, as well as they believe internally that taking him weakens the Bills. And number two, they respect Mike. I was told Mike McDaniel fits the exact bill of what they didn't want to hire heading into this process, but they're so impressed with his football mind and his football IQ that's why they're giving him the interview to see if he can blow them away.
as a matter of fact,
which I think he will.
What do you have to show in the interview to get the job?
Dude, you're gonna like if he's smart, he comes in with a 5-year game plan.
Yeah, he has to have like a plan.
If you're smart, you come in with a 5-year game plan. In year one, you have a solid game plan for free agency and the draft that can give the whole organization a firm evaluation of either this is the offense I can build with Tua or this is the offense I can build without Tua.
Right. He's got to show him both paths.
And then they ask you which path do you prefer, and he tells them which path they prefer, and you got to sell them on that path.
he interviewed tonight, didn't he?
What? Tomorrow.
He interviewed tonight. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow's his day.
Honestly, the reason I honestly think he can do it, bro. Like just the game plan and everything, I honestly think, because I wasn't sold on him, but when you showed that video of him talking and stuff, I was like, you know what, I'm on board, bro. I'm on board.
Yeah. Well, if you think of like
Oh
every
yeah,
single
I've seen
every
it.
single organization on the planet, not just football, like when you're trying to hire something unproven, when you're hiring someone out of college, what do? They hire the smartest people they can, right? The better the school you went to, that's because smart people tend to figure shit out better, right? Like that's kind of the way it works.
Yeah,
So, for me, like if I'm trying to hire one of these unproven guys, give me the smartest guy in the world because I have more
That's what
hope that
I'm
he'll
saying.
figure it out.
That's what I'm saying.
Actually,
You
I
have to have the
I
smartest
agree.
one.
That's been my whole argument. If he's the offensive genius I think he is, then he studied defenses on how they can beat his offenses, so he understands the importance of our defense and the way our personnel is currently structured.
Shit, look,
I don't
didn't
think
he
he'd
used
come
to
in and
dis-
mess it up because he'd know that would be a two-year process to turn over that personnel. Florida Born says, "What do you think about Raheem Morris?" If Dan Quinn comes, he can be his assistant head coach like he was in Atlanta.
Hey, didn't he design plays
forgot
though
about
for Mike Shanahan?
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, he reinvented Mike Shanahan's offense as an intern,
Yeah.
and then Mike Shanahan brought him to Washington when he went to Washington during the RG3 era. He brought him over, and then when Mike Shanahan retired, he basically passed him off to Kyle Shanahan. And when Kyle Shanahan came over to Dan Quinn, when Shanahan put together his offense, he brought over both LaFleur's, Mike and Matt LaFleur, as well as Mike McDaniel.
That's crazy that somebody that young was doing that.
Last year, when we wanted to interview him for the OC job, they blocked it.
yeah,
The
49ers
blocked it. Yeah, he's a
because
jewel.
he didn't want to lose him. He didn't give a crap about losing LaFleur with Salah. It was McDaniel he didn't want to learn. Dude, they guys, go look up the inside zone toss run that they did this year. Like they like reinvented that zone inside run toss, and that's what Elijah Mitchell was eating off of this year.
They did. They had a good game.
They
plan
did a
against the
couple of with
Cowboys.
Debo Samuels too. He read a couple of them the last game.
See, and that's the thing I
That
like
game
about
plan
him.
against the Cowboys was brilliant. I was
The way he does it with Debo, he could do that with Waddle.
Well, Waddle's
It's pretty
smaller.
creative.
Waddle's smaller.
Yeah, he'll use it with
you got to
somebody
use it
else.
different. Like you could use Lynn Bowden in that Debo role, right?
Yeah,
like,
somebody bigger. Yeah.
I'm just excited about the creativity McDaniel would have about getting Waddle into open space. He'll use him in creative ways, but you won't run him out of the backfield the way they run. Debo is built like a running back. He's like 6 foot, 215 pounds. You know,
Yeah,
he's a running back disguised as a wide receiver.
Like
but what
Lynn
I'm
Bowden
saying
would
is
be
they
better.
always find a place for him, and they do get him into space quite a bit.
Yeah, but if you looked at him on Sunday, they were like running him between tackles and such.
Yeah. He was
Junior
really
says 199. Will McDaniels be able to lead men? That's a question, bro. That's not a question. I mean, if George Kittle wanted an addendum in his contract that he didn't want McDaniels leaving while he was a 49er, that tells you he's a leader of men. I mean, that tells you that they follow him. So,
and I'm sorry, Tua is a better. I think Tua is better than Garoppolo, and he won with Garoppolo.
Oh,
yep.
Yeah, and the thing is he's got the personality too. You can see it from his interviews. But my first question to him, just like every other head coaching candidate, my first question is, who's your offensive line coach going to be? Because that's what I'm focused on.
I don't think that would be a problem with him. Look at the way his running game is always.
I agree. I'm just saying that it doesn't matter who we interview. If that's not the first question we ask, the interviewer needs to be slapped. That's all.
My first question
That'd
to
be
him
Greer.
would be, who's going to be your defensive coordinator?
That's my first question too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's true too.
Because I need to know what's happening with our personnel because we are built a certain way. We're not built to go into a 4-3 or a wide 9. Like we are scheme like specific here. So I mean, and he comes from a system where they run predominantly zone coverage. So I need to know what he's planning with our defense. I was only planning to go an hour and a half, so we'll get some final thoughts. Z-Man, your final thoughts, buddy.
Man, I don't know who they're gonna hire at this point. I just wanted to bring in just these Three things: a good staff, O-line, running back. Other than that, I think the rest can just handle itself. You feel me? I feel like we already have the pieces in place for everything to just handle itself. If they have the staff, then the staff should be able to coach the talent.
Agreed.
What's up?
Yep.
Crypto, your final thoughts.
Good show, Reason. I'm just ready to get this done. I say, hey, since Caldwell haven't been interviewed and McDaniels was my second choice, after tomorrow at 12:01 p.m., he should be announced as our coach. Let's just get it done.
Todd, your final thoughts.
I don't think they'll be announcing him tomorrow when he still has one more week to play. But, I want him. He's my number one choice besides Caldwell.
Yeah, not too much on the Caldwell front right now. RJ, your final
That's
thoughts.
weird.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm kind of a little nervous about Daboll. I think that there's some things about his resume that make me a little nervous, even though he's had success in Buffalo. So I guess it really depends on how much you believe in Tua, right? Like, if he's really good with a top 3 QB, he's able to produce a pretty good offense in Buffalo, right? They look good, and then there's some other quarterbacks that are terrible, and his teams were terrible. So
Yeah.
one thing that I do like about him, though, and I like about McDaniels and Daboll, regardless, though, is that I think that both of these guys are not like, I have a system and I need all the players to play to my system. Both of them have proven that they're willing to change schemes for quarterbacks, because there's actually Daboll that switched the scheme for Josh Allen from switching more away from RPO and more to play action, which really changed Josh Allen's game. So that's one thing that I do like about both of them, is that they both have that, like, ability to just change schemes depending on personnel, and it's not just my way or the highway. So yeah, either way I'm cool, but I think I like McDaniel a little better.
Ryan Lopez says, hey, Reason, I have a friend that is family friends with Joe Brady, and he told me that Daboll told him he wants Joe Brady to be his OC.
That's interesting.
Pyro, your final thoughts, buddy.
Yeah, I'm pretty much agreeing with everybody. I think that Mike McDaniel is probably the best bet, because just that guy's IQ with football is insane, man. That the videos that I've seen, yeah, he's definitely impressed me, and I just hopefully that he impresses the management, because right now we need to make the right choice. It's Daboll. No, I don't feel like he would be the right choice, simply because they lean too much on his relationship with Tua. I just think that the guy needs to. Hopefully, he's smart up there in the brains. Right now, Mike McDaniel is really the front runner right now for me. Fins up.
Yeah,
Yep.
Baller, go ahead. You there?
I don't think he's there.
Wait, hold up.
Is your mic on?
EM.
Yeah. Baller going once.
Yeah,
Going twice.
his mic off. Yeah,
Shadow
his
round.
mic was off.
Oh, he left.
He left. Yeah,
PT,
he's in
your
there.
final thoughts.
To be quick, I like Mike McDaniel. I think that with the way that the league and the world is changing, I think, being a genius, but also being, personable and whatever is the way to go. But I also think that I don't really care, what quarter or head coach we bring in. If Tua is a good quarterback and they have a successful staff, Tua will do fine. But I really want to see whoever's the head coach to address our issues, on the offensive line, running back, wide receiver, and the linebackers, and see how they're going to put it all together, because we need a team. We don't have that right now.
All right, guys, here's the deal. I'm going to be back either tomorrow or I'm going to be back Thursday, one of the two. I'll let you guys know. Hold on a sec. Ian Baller's here. Ian Baller.
All right, I'm here.
There you go, man.
All right, sorry, my mic was turned off. My bad. So yes, absolutely, I agree. Mike McDaniel is my first choice, and I said that a day or two before you made that video. So I'm glad you made it. So you opened up other Dolphins fans. I'm a little afraid of Daboll, but I'm okay with him. But Mike McDaniel is definitely my first choice, and we don't have to worry about another team getting him, because he's the only interview. His only interview is with the Dolphins. So, fins up.
All right, guys, I'm going to be back tomorrow night.
Right.
And then I might be back Thursday as well, but I will be back at least 2 more times this week. So until tomorrow night, everyone stay happy, healthy, safe, and blessed. And fins up all day, every day. I'll see y'all tomorrow night.
Later.